Hello, my name's Destiny Lopez, and I am 22. I'll be 23 next month, and this is my fifth year at ASU because I took off some time for family stuff, and then I've just kind of been going to school back at my own pace because I don't want to rush myself and overwhelm myself with stuff and hate it more than I kind of already do. Um, my most memorable experience would have to be a time when he's my fiance now, but at the time we weren't together. And I got a call from his mother that he was in a coma at the hospital. He has Crohn's disease, so he ended up going into a coma because his all his body levels were the fluids and everything were really low, and his body just kind of went into a shock. And the experience was really scary and kind of weird because of the fact that him and I hadn't been together, and he kind of started dating another person, and I started seeing someone else as well. And his mother calling me because we had been together for 2 years prior to that was kind of an eye opener that him and I needed each other. And he ended up being in there for a week. And on the last day, I decided to actually stay the night with him in the room just to be there every time he'd wake up to kind of try to ease him back into like getting him to calm down and not overreact and get him to realize that he's at the hospital and he's being taken care of. And he eventually woke up out of the coma the next morning, and the doctors were really shocked because there was nothing different that changed besides me being in the room with him. So I learned that the little things that we always argued about weren't even worth it at the end of the day, and that everything happens for a reason because we had stopped seeing each other, and all of a sudden this happened, and we ended up being stronger than we could have ever been after that. And I do think that this could benefit anybody. And having to see a person that you love being hooked up to all these crazy machines is really scary and could shock anybody into thinking about like, have you fought with somebody that isn't worth fighting with and that you want to keep them in your life, and that little itty bitty argument over the orange juice isn't worth it. And if I had to revisit the experience, there's not much I would change because I feel like the way that everything happened is how it was supposed to happen. And that's the bonds that I built with his family, even with us not being together, were very important. And then even having to be by myself and like mentally support myself and emotionally learn how to be my, in a sense, my own, holding myself up by myself because I wasn't with him, so his family wasn't necessarily completely my support system. So it kind of made me inner be a little bit stronger, which was a nice experience. But if I did have to change anything, it would be to stay the night with him the first night that we found out he was going to be in the coma rather than trying to see if he'd wake up because he was in a coma for 7 days. So I would have stayed with him the first night to make sure that it didn't last that long, or maybe that would have not changed anything, who knows. But that's my most memorable moment, and it's scary, and I'm glad that it's not anything I have to deal with ever again.